Hello. Okay. You can give this mic. You can give this mic.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone, please give me a very small definition of complex numbers. Anyone, just very small definition. Anyone from class 9 or class 10? Anyone here?
22.
Very small definition, sir.
So I am not sure, but I think it is a point that can be plotted in the Argand tree.
Yeah. Something related to square root of -1, right?
Yes, sir. That's true.
Square root of minus. Okay, for those who do not know what complex numbers is, so let me give you a brief definition of it. So 2 multiplied by 2 gives 4. So the square root of 4 is 2. And again 3 multiplied by 3 gives 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. And again similarly 1 multiplied by 1 gives 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. Now the question is, what is the square root of -1, right? So no one has a proper definition for it. No mathematician ever has a proper definition for it. What is the square root of -1? So it's really difficult. Now, what if I told you that complex numbers is simply a fake mathematics? What if I told you that complex numbers is actually because of a big mistake in one of the rules of multiplication? And what if I told you that complex numbers actually do not exist? It is completely wrong. Well, you obviously might not know with me, but let me give you a very small example. What is actually multiplication? Multiplication is actually a kind of addition, right? 3 multiplied by 2 is actually 3 plus 3 is equal 6, right? So we can denote multiplication is in terms of addition, right? So suppose take a very small example, 5 multiplied by 2. So 5 is the amount and 2 is the number of times that 5 has to be added. 5 plus 5 is equal 6. Keep that in mind. I wish I could show it on a blackboard, but no, there is no blackboard, so please have an adjust on it. Similarly, -5 multiplied by -5 multiplied by 2. So -5 is the amount and 2 is the number of times that -5 has to be added. -5 plus -5 is equal to -2. Now the big part. Now, a silly question. Can number of times be negative? Can number of times be negative? So if number of times cannot be negative, we cannot say that is the mistake that I have found, and I've written, explained everything in the book. So if you ever read the book, you can about complex numbers. I think there's a poster, right, of my book. If I'm not sure, you can view it later on. You'll get a poster of it. Okay, so this is the first topic. Now let's discuss the second topic. What is Newton's law of gravitation? Class 9, please give me a very small definition. Just the definition. That's not a big deal. I'm not gonna bite you. Yeah.
Anyone?
Mike, please.
Anyone?
Very small definition. That's not too much. It can be wrong. No problem. It can be wrong. I will adjust it.
The force of attraction
Yeah.
the force of attraction between any two bodies in the
Yeah. That's the definition. So in very simple terms, if I explain Newton's law of gravitation, it is like this. This mic is attracting me, and in turn I'm attracting this mic. This building is attracting me, and in turn I'm also attracting the building. Right? This is a simple definition of Newton's law. Now, what if I told you that? Do you see anything like this in everyday life? Like two objects attracting each other automatically? Like for example, you're standing on the platform. Right? Do you feel any kind of attraction towards the train? You feel? You don't feel, right? You're standing beside an aeroplane. You do not feel any kind of attraction towards the aeroplane, right? Or maybe you're standing beside a huge ship, and you don't feel any kind of attraction. A huge building cannot attract even a small piece of paper, let alone be a human. So we see that Newton's law of gravitation does not hold in our everyday life, right? Now you may ask me a very common question. If Newton's theory of gravity is incorrect, why am I standing on the surface of the earth? Why am I not floating in space, right? And why do every object fall towards the center of the earth? They never fly upwards. So why is it so? Now what if I told you that there's something mysterious object seated right at the center of the earth which is causing that gravitational force? What if I told you that? And what if I told you that not just our planet Earth, in fact every planet, every star, and every galaxy is in this universe? Well, again, you might find it a little bit uneasy to accept. But I have written with proof, and I describe with proof in my book. You can probably read it. Class 9 and 10, I think my book will be really attractive to you. It will be really. So again, let me discuss the last topic. So I probably it's about something about biology. Let me ask you a very small question. Do you think that our brain is the most important part of the body? Do you think that without the brain, our body cannot do any kind of function, right? Right? So everyone will say yes, obviously. Our brain is the most important part of the body. But what if I told you that brain is not always the most important part of the body? What if I told you that even without the brain, our body can perform functions? What if I told you that? Well, again, you might find me a really stupid fellow. But let me give you a very small example. You must have seen any headless chicken, right? Everyone loves chicken, but I'm a vegetarian by the way, so please don't ask me. I'm vegetarian. I thought everyone is a vampire here, and I'm the only human. Okay, if you ever go to a slaughterhouse or somewhere, you'll find that even if the head of the chicken is cut off, still the body is moving, right? Still the body can perform all the functions, right? So, and just for information, let me tell you that there was a famous headless chicken known as Mike from the United States that lived for 1.5 years without his head. Without his head, yeah. That's quite really funny. The farmer used to drop milk and water directly into the esophagus, direct the food canal, and that's how it served her. And it lived for 1.5 years, just pretty much. And not just chickens. If you cut the head of a lizard, for example, it will still work, right? It has no real effect. And there was a famous experiment performed by a biologist, not a biologist, by a zoologist. What he did, he removed the brain of a frog. He removed the brain of a frog, and he was watching what does it happen when the brain is removed. Strangely enough, he found no effect. There was no effect on the frog. The frog, like a normal frog, it used to jump, it used to swim, it used to croak. And the most ridiculous part, it can even turn it upside down. If you turn it upside down, it will right itself up. So that's pretty amazing, right? Without a brain, an organism perform all the functions necessary for life. So how is it so? How is it so? Now what if I told you that the cells, the tissues and all the organs in our body are programmed in such a way and programmed by nature, and they can perform automatically even without a signal from the brain? What if I told you that? Just like a robot, for example. A robot has a computer program fit inside it, right? So a robot can perform all the functions. And if you suppose remove the head of a robot, suppose if you remove the head of a robot, still if the main part is somewhere else, if the main chip is somewhere else, the robot can still perform all the functions, right? So in the same way, our cells and our tissues and all the bodies and all the organs in our bodies behave in a way as if they are programmed by nature. And I have written a detailed book, detailed chapter about it. It's a big chapter, and I believe you'll really find it very entertaining. So anyone please, anything you like to ask? Anything you like to ask about the book, or anything you like to ask about science, or you make any personal questions if you like. Anyone? Yeah, sure.
What is a wormhole?
Yeah?
What is a wormhole?
One more. I think it's related to something related to chemistry, right? It's a number.
Yeah.
1.6. I'm not sure about the number. It's number of atoms present. I think, if I'm not wrong. Number of molecules, right? Okay, wormhole. That's a pretty funny stuff. So wormhole is a type of connection between two dimensions. Suppose, for example, I have to walk through this, I have to walk through this area to pass out of the gate, right? I have to pass out of the gate. I have to walk through that area. But wormhole creates a kind of space-time contraction. What it is, it's just a point. Like if I'm stepping outside, I'm reaching outside the gate. It creates a shortcut between two different dimensions. That it creates but if after reading my book, you will find that yes, wormhole can be possible. Wormhole can be possible. Even not just wormhole. You can reach to some other dimension of time, not just space. This is called space. Reaching from one place to another without passing through the area in between, right? So you can also reach to some other time as well. If you read my book, you can understand that. Anything, please. That's a very interesting question. Thank you. Okay. Lastly, I would like to, there's less time, so lastly, I'd like to share a brief, experience when I was a little kid in St. Vivekananda. Well, this school was the foundation. This school was the foundation of my knowledge. This school was the foundation of my education, and this school was also the foundation of my scientific career. I became interested in science when I was in 7th standard, if I remember correctly. I think there's a very blessed time. So thank you. You'll find it really interesting, and so you can read my book. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiva. I think we have inspired our students. Ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the completion of 25 years of our school, we once again repeat the promise that was taken on this very day back in 1994, that we as teachers, parents and everyone involved with the school will continue to contribute towards nation building by preparing our pupils to face the world at large with confidence and exuberance. Today will give place to tomorrow, and tomorrow will dawn into a day after. And yet another 25 years will fade into oblivion, but the stories of success of our students will stand immortal for generations to come. Thus, we come to a close of today's inaugural function of our Silver Jubilee celebration. Wishing you all in advance happy Bhogali Bihu. Thank you.
Sir.